So this is a Sterling Searcher Elite. It's going to take you around the van and show you how it operates. At the front of the van, you've got your hitch, handbrake and jockey wheel for the caravan itself. This is something we'll take you through insight on person. In the front locker, you've got your gas valve on top of the gas bottle itself, and you've got your gas regulator on the bulkhead of the van. Then you've also got down here your gas shut-off valve, so if you wish to isolate the gas to the van completely, you can do that by turning this valve off. And then you've got space here for a second bottle also. In the front of the van as well, you've got your water pump connection just here. And on the side of the van, you've got your wind down leg, as you can see at the bottom there. Again, this is something I'll demonstrate to you while you're here on site. The water pump, you've got the connection on the end here, as you can see, in the fitment on the side of the van. It's got two cutouts, one with two electrical points and the water pump connection. You push it into the side of the van and you lock it into place with the tabs if you wish to. You don't have to, but there's two tabs there that lock down into place. You've got the water pump on the other end, which drops into the Aquaroll for the Aquaroll, which is supplied with the van in this case, due to the starter pack. I'll explain the rest of the operation when we go inside the van. The cover here that you see on the side of the van is a gas flue for the heating and hot water system. So essentially, if you're running the caravan on gas for the heating and hot water, you need to make sure this cover is removed, as that is the carbon monoxide exhaust for the caravan. Down the bottom, you also have your leg winder. There's one of these on each side of the front of the caravan, and we'll demonstrate those while you're here on site. Going further down the side of the van, you've got the motor mover and wheels. The wheels we'll talk while you're here on site before you leave, and we'll also demonstrate the motor mover in full to show you it's operating the way it should. You've got a storage locker coming down the side of the van also, which allows you access to underneath the bed. And at the rear of the van, you have your toilet flush tank. So as you can see on the back of the van, above the writing, is the toilet flush tank. So you'll need to fill this with 3.5 litres of water and a cap full of the pink fluid that also comes part of the starter pack. At the back of the van, just here, you have your toilet cassette. You release it by pulling up the yellow handle at the bottom and pulling it out towards you. The yellow button on the back is a pressure relief button to allow the pressure out of the tank when you are tipping it away. The cap here turns round so you can tip the waste out through here, and before use you'll need to put 1 litre of water in and a cap full of the blue fluid. On the rear of the van, you've got your wind down legs again on either side, as you can see just here. They look a bit like exhaust pipes in the back of the caravan, obviously not, but that's what they look like in that sense. So in the centre of there is a nut that you will locate the leg winder onto. Again, then you've got your wheels and motor mover. Fridge vent behind the door, which one takes in some cool air for the fridge unit and one blows out the warm air. You've got your awning light on the side. And then the other side of the door, coming up to the front of the van, you've got your battery locker with a 110 amp battery in there, your mains power lead coming to the side of the van that's connected to the power on site, your motor mover power switch, which again we'll demonstrate later on when you go on site, and then you have your wet locker, so if you've got any wet items that you want to store away, you can do that so they're not inside of the caravan. On the front corner you have your barbecue gas point. You'll need a brass fitment that goes into here that pushes into place and locks in, and then the gas tap will turn to allow you to let gas through to the pipework. So we're now inside of the caravan, and above the door as you walk in, you've got your main power switches. So the switch here is for your awning light on the outside of the van. You've then got your power switch for the caravan itself, so you've got power on and off. Lights internal on and off. You've then got your battery level on the gauge just to the right hand side here, and then you've got your water level for the onboard water tank. Now to fill the water systems, there's two different ways of doing this. You've got your onboard tank, which is normally underneath the bed, so I'm just going to find that. So in the back of the van, underneath that box just there, is the onboard water tank for the caravan. Now, if you want to run from the onboard tank on the caravan, it's very simple to do. You connect your Aquaroll up on the outside. You have to do that regardless. You then come inside the caravan, open up all the taps on the hot side. So as you can see, hot there, and the tap's open completely. The sink in the bathroom, open completely on the hot side. And then the shower tap you'd also open. I'm not going to do that at the moment because the shower door's open, but you'd open that up as well to bleed the system. When you first turn on the water pump, it's going to spit and splatter like when the water's been off at home. So what you do is, to fill the onboard water tank, you come to this button just here above the door, and you'll press down to the onboard tank just here. So it's a rocker switch, so it rocks over both ways. So you put it down to the water to the tank at the bottom. You'd let that fill up. It'll cut off automatically, and it will once it's at full level. And then you'll notice on here again it says full just here. But so you turn the pump on down to the bottom, and that will fill the tank on board the van. If you want to, well, once it's completely full, sorry, you go around and turn each tap off individually. So you turn off the tap in the kitchen, that's the nearest one. You'd then turn off the sink in the bathroom and then the shower. And what at that point, obviously, you should have water coming out of each tap completely. Now, if you want to run from the Aquaroll and just fill the hot water tank on board the van, so you're not having to fill the big onboard tank, you do the same operation. However, you just flick this switch up to the top, which, as you can see, turns on the pump inside the caravan to fill the hot water tank inside of the van. If you don't fill the onboard tank, you just flick this. When you flick this switch down, it would say empty on there if you've drained it down correctly. Once you've got everything filled up, you can then go ahead and start warming the water on electric or gas. First of all, we're going to go to the electric, which I believe is in the cupboard just down the back here. So in the cupboard below the wardrobe area, you've got your mains control unit at the bottom here. So you've got your 240 trip switches, and above that you've got your 12 volt fuses. You'll also see you've got 4 switches on this corner. First one I'm going to come to is the electric water heater. So this switch here, where it says water heater at the bottom, you flick that switch on and it warms up the water system on electric. The battery charger, we've advised you leave on at all times, because then that will charge the battery when you're towing down the road, as long as you have the right connection on the back of your car. And also the same with the space heater switch on this side. Car and van, which you see here, the switch, you have an option here. You can, when you put this switch to the top, and you're towing down the road, it'll allow you to charge the battery on board the van. When the switch is in the central, it won't be running off any 12 volts at all, so it won't be running off 12 volt off the caravan or the car. If you flick the switch down, it will run off the 12 volt system on the caravan only. The 12 volt fuse is on the left hand side. When you have a look in your manuals for the caravan, it'll actually give you a breakdown of what each of these fuses are for, and the F1, F2, etc. here will relate to the fuse in the board there. And again, on the door just here, you have what each of the trip switches are for, and you'll notice on each of these it's got 1, 2, 3, and again 1, 2, 3 down here. So I've showed you the, I've told you something completely wrong in the video. To fill the onboard water system, you'd actually flick this switch over in here as well, and that will allow you to fill the tank on board the van. So you'd need to flick this over before you turn the pump on above the door, or go to the water tank above the door. So you'd flick this on first. If you wish to warm the water on board the caravan on gas, you can also do that. So if you're off grid, for instance, you can do that. And just by the door here, you'll see you've got 2 controls. One that says Ultra Store, which is basically water store, and the one to the right hand side, which is Ultra Heat, which is your heating system. I'll come back to that in a moment. So ignite the water heater on gas. You'll spin the dial round to the gas symbol down the side here, and when it ignites, the green light will appear. In a moment, it will go to a red light in there as well to say it's failed, because the gas bottle is currently turned off. So when it does fail, red light will appear next to it. As you can see, if you can see it in the video just there, just about a red glow, that is to say that the water heater has failed to ignite on gas. To control the water temperature on gas, you've got the dial on the front here between 30 and 70 degrees. And obviously that will only work if it has ignited on gas. The switch to the right of it is your heating for the caravan itself. Now, to control the heating for the van, you need to select one of the power sources down the side, depending on what you're connected to, and this will only work if you've got a mains power supply coming into the van. So for instance, here on site we can run 500 watts, so I'm going to put it on 500 watts. Green light appears in the back of here, and then whatever numbers above the green light is the temperature the heater will warm up to. So basically this is your thermostat in the centre here. To turn the heating off, you spin it back to the 0 dial, and that is the heating turned off on electric. The heating on gas works slightly differently. So on top of the heater itself, you've got this dial just here. You spin it round to between 10 and 9 at the top here. Hold down the gas valve, and when it ignites at around a 45-degree angle from the floor, you'll see a pilot light down in this window. So the sort of angle I'm holding the camera at now, which is probably a little bit hard to tell, but 45 degree from the front of the heater itself, looking downwards, you'll see that pilot light ignite. Once it has ignited, we do advise that you hold down the gas valve for 5 to 10 seconds longer to allow the thermocouple to warm up. Then slowly release the gas valve, and you control the temperature on top once you have got it ignited. blown air has two different options for running the blown air. The dot in the centre will allow the heat to come out the front of the heater itself and not out of the vents around the van. If you want to put it on blown air, you can do that by putting it onto the wave symbol, but that is continuous blown air. Then you have your fan speed on the dial on top, and you can probably hear in the video that the fan has just kicked in at a higher speed. If you want it on automatic blown air, so essentially on the automatic blown air, it will cut in and out on a thermostat from the heater, whether it be on gas or electric. The blown air will cut in and out with that. We're going to go to the fridge next. On the fridge itself, you have a couple of different options here. You can run the fridge on gas, and to ignite it on gas, it'll actually self-ignite. Just pressing that in, because some of the vans you have to hold in the temperature control. On this one you do not. So once it ignites, that light in there will go green. At the moment it's letting me know it is trying to ignite. If you want to use 230 volt on board the caravan, you spin the dial round to the 230 volt symbol, and then you can control the temperature on gas or electric on the dial on the right hand side. If you're towing down the road and you want to use the fridge as a cool box, like the plug-in ones you can get in your car, you can put it onto 12 volts. That won't work while you're on site and you're not connected to a car. It essentially runs from the power source that's connected to the car at the front through to the 12 volt system on here, and again you would need the switch in the cupboard down here to be on car at that point. If you wish to control the temperature of the freezer, you press this button on here, and then you can control the freezer on the dial on the right hand side. You would need to leave this turned on if you want the freezer to stay on. The microwave above, fairly self-explanatory. You've got your different power level settings and the timer on the front, and we do advise before you travel that you remove the microwave plate from inside of the microwave. The cooker, you've got an electric ring on the back, which again will only work on mains 240 volts, and the gas rings that you see will work on gas at the same as the grill and oven. Igniter on the front, as you'd expect to see. Yeah, any cooking lessons, I'm probably not the person to ask, so maybe have a look online if you need any help with that. In the rear of the van, the last thing I'm going to show you on this particular van is the toilet system. You've got an electric flush on top, so you press the button and that will flush the toilet system. You've got a full indicator light for the waste cassette that's at the back of the van that I showed you on the outside. And at the bottom, you do need to make sure this waste flap is pulled over, so it opens up the cassette door, as you can see, before you use the loo. If not, the waste will just sit on the flap inside the toilet itself. If you have any further questions on the Stirling Searcher, then please do give us a call here at the Caravan Company, and we'll do all we can to help you. Thank you very much. Bye bye.